YouTube, it's time for another installment of Strange Questions. The first question is from CuffU76, and they want to know if I've ever been arrested or detained by the police. I have never been arrested, and I don't intend to be arrested, but I have technically been detained by a police officer. This is not in the way you would think. I have been detained by my father. My father was a police officer in Maryville Public Safety, and so whenever I was grounded or stuck in the house, I was detained by a police officer. I also was employed at Campus Safety at Northwest, and so my employers were campus safety officers, so I have technically been detained by them as well. The second question is from Elmo555, and this is a very creative question, and I like these questions. Keep sending stuff like this. If you saw a half-inch tall kid who happened to be made of chocolate walk across your computer desk, what would you say and what would you do? First thing, I would probably shout some expletive, and then I would see if this chocolate child could speak. If so, I would strike up a conversation and find out its background and where it came from. And then I would get out my camera, film it, and put it on YouTube. Then I would probably eat him. The second question is from Warrant, and this is a terrific question. This is regarding breastfeeding by men, and I did not know this was possible. In the sidebar, there's a link to the article about it. Go read it. It's fascinating. And he wants to know my opinions on it. I think it is potentially a really beneficial idea. There are several single fathers and male guardians that are taking care of children that might want to have their child breastfed and don't have a wet nurse. Now, statistics show that children who are breastfed generally develop faster, have a higher IQ, and it's generally more nutritious than formula. So I think that maybe if the mother isn't around and the father is a primary caretaker for that child, it could potentially be a good idea. However, I know that a lot of men would not be okay with this because it's a blow to their masculinity or what have you. And some people say it's unnatural, but if it was unnatural, it wouldn't be able to happen. And you're probably wondering, well, how is that even possible? Men don't lactate. Go read the article. It is really, really informative and just fascinating. So definitely something that could be used for the better. The fourth and final question is from switchheellateshove, and they want to know about my opinion on ecstasy use. Is it okay to use ecstasy to enhance sexual pleasure, and is it okay for escaping real life? Drug use is a very delicate subject, and I will explain to you in detail why I have this opinion. I personally would not use ecstasy. It is a drug that makes you lose control of your behavior, and I feel like if I am not in control, I lose myself, and that is the last thing that I ever want to do. Also, I don't recommend breaking the law. Now, I'm not saying I haven't. I've sped. I drank before I was 21. I jaywalk. I smoked weed once. It was awful. Don't do it. It smells terrible, and it's just gross. So I'm not saying by any means that I've never broken a law, because I have. But really, this is more a question of morality. Would you feel okay with yourself as a person if you took ecstasy? Would you not regret the things that you did while under the influence of ecstasy? You have to decide if it's worth it. Now, as far as using it to escape real life, that I can understand. I do that myself, but with prescription drugs. And why one drug is legal and another isn't, there are various reasons. I'm still in control on my prescription meds, where the drugs like ecstasy and acid and what have you, you are no longer in control of what you're doing. And so there is a reason why certain drugs are illegal. And there are better and more healthier ways to escape situations or feel better about your life if you are in a situation where you feel you need to do that, please talk to someone. Even if it's just a friend, if you don't want to go to a counselor or a professional psychiatrist, what have you, just talk. It helps. Something that I do when I feel like I'm losing control and stressed out and just can't handle what's going on, I do what I call self-therapy, and I just talk it out to myself out loud, usually in the car. I wish I had a Bluetooth so people thought I was talking on the phone. But if I get upset, just say, Jamie, this is not that important. It's not going to matter tomorrow. You can handle this. And as ridiculous as it sounds, it helps. And it's a lot cheaper than ecstasy. As far as using ecstasy for sexual pleasure, no, don't do it. There are cheaper and legal ways to enhance sexual pleasure. Go to Cirillas, which used to be Priscilla's, and the only reason they named it Cirillas is because they didn't want to change the letters in the sign. Cirillas. AdamandEve.com. Watch porn. I don't care what you do. Legal. Cheap. Not ecstasy. Thank you again for all these wonderful questions. Keep them coming. This concludes this installment of Strange Questions. Peace.